That is not a line from a horror novel, and is not from some Victorian occultist. That was Thomas Hardy, one of the most celebrated realist writers that England has ever produced. A man whose entire reputation was built on showing life exactly as it was, brutal, unglamorous and real. The house behind me is Max Gate. Hardy designed it himself, and he moved in here in 1885 and lived here until he died in 1928. And in that time, very strange things happened. Ancient graves were found under the foundation. His first wife died in the attic, and at least 2 encounters that Hardy himself couldn't explain. This is the story of the haunting of Thomas Hardy. Hardy grew up in rural Dorset, not far from here, where folklore and superstition was still part of daily life. Believing in ghosts in Victorian times was not fringe, it was mainstream. Hardy's mother herself claimed she'd seen the apparition of a dying or a dead person, and Hardy desperately wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe in the supernatural, but he couldn't find any evidence. That was a central tension of his life, a powerful imagination and a will to believe kept in check by a deeply rational mind.
You can see it in his writing. In Tessa de Duberville's, the world around her starts to feel wrong. There are signs, warnings, a sense that something is following her, not seen but felt. Not quite a ghost, but nothing either.
For decades, his wish seemed to go unanswered, but as Hardy got older, things started happening. And the first one happened approximately a mile from here,
in Stinsford. Picture this. Christmas Eve, 1919. Hardy is nearly 80. He places a sprig of holly on his grandfather's grave, apparently for the very first time, and a stranger appears right beside him. He is in old-fashioned clothes, 18th century by the look of them. A green Christmas, he says. Hardy replies, I like a green Christmas. The stranger turns and walks into the church.
He followed him here, and he found the church completely empty. Later on, his sister said that it was probably their grandfather. Hardy said nothing on record, but we'll get back to this a little later. A few years later, early 1920s, it happened again, but this time not in some lonely churchyard, but in his own drawing room, here at Max Gate. All right, let's go in and let's have a look around. Hasn't changed much, does it? Thomas and Florence were hosting a tea party here. It was an ordinary afternoon with friends and neighbours. At some point, Hardy noticed someone beside him, someone he did not recognise.
After everyone left, he asked Florence who the man was.
She was confused as she's listed everybody that was present, and she knew everyone. But even the next day, he could remember exactly what he looked like. 2 encounters, 2 figures nobody could account for.
What was about Max Gate that made a lifelong skeptic start seeing things that weren't there?
Now, let's go back one bit to 1883. When the workers were digging the foundations of Max Gate, They found graves, but the building continued. There were 3 graves, skeleton arranged in fetal position, Roman-style urns, and a large sandstone stone.
And now this is believed to be part of a Neolithic henge that could be older than Stonehenge.
Hardy was a trained architect. He knew exactly what he was looking at.
He was deeply unsettled, but he didn't tell Emma. He feared that it was a bad omen for their marriage, and in a way, it was. Hardy met Emma in 1870 when he was sent to Cornwall on a work trip. She was a spirited, unconventional woman. After 3 years of long-distance relationship, they got married in 1874 and eventually moved to Maxgate, like we said, in 1885.
And things slowly fell apart, or so they say.
Rumour has it that Thomas and Emma lived like 2 strangers under the same roof. Hardy was absorbed in his work, and Emma felt ignored and patronized, and retreated to the attic rooms on top of the house, where she wrote her private memoirs, increasingly bitter and isolated. But Roderick, one of the volunteers here at Maxgate, seems to think differently.
It's steep.
It's very steep, yes. Yes, extremely.
Is that one of the reasons why she stayed upstairs, that it was difficult to come back downstairs?
She didn't stay upstairs.
Right.
She was often in the garden.
Right.
She played the piano. She entertained.
Yeah.
She had friends who would come and visit.
Right, okay, wow.
She's not the mad woman in the attic.
No. But that is how some people saw that to me, you see?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Another one of the volunteers tells us about the kind of relationship they had. And it is not quite what we thought it was.
And everything about Thomas Hardy clashes. What was going on with the marriage? You can make it. I mean, literally no one knows. They were getting on. She was only bedridden for the last 18 months.
Right.
She was coming down, they were having dinner together. The thing that really gets you is Emma employed Florence. It wasn't Thomas who employed Florence, it was Emma that employed Florence. And Emma employed Florence to be her companion. Yeah, I mean, you can make up what you like.
She died up here on the 24th of November 1912, and suddenly
Emma's death hit him hard. He started seeing her everywhere.
he went through her diaries and letters and found the woman he'd first loved. And Maxgate was suddenly full of her, and he started writing compulsively, almost desperately, poems about seeing her ghost in the rooms of the house, poems about chasing her spirit back to the Cornish cliffs where they first met. He even wrote one from her point of view, wandering around the house unseen, not spirits, not apparitions, but memories. And this happened while Florence was in the house. Thomas married Florence in 1914. To Florence, the house became haunted after Emma's death. She told the poet Siegfried Sassoon,
and she thought that the title of Mrs. Hardy belonged to someone else.
she was oppressed by the feeling that she was living in a dead woman's house, using her things, occupying her space. And then there was a phantom at a tea party. The story was recorded by Florence, as well as the one at Stinsford Church. He wrote them down, kept them alive, and told them to friends.
Make it what you will, but the stories do exist, and this is the place where they happened. Well, one of them at least. Hardy's relationship with Emma's memory took a strange turn. As he got older and began thinking about his legacy, he went back to Emma's diaries and papers and he destroyed them. Then he wrote his own autobiography, but he arranged it to be published after his death in the name of his wife Florence, as if it was an objective autobiography written by a grieving widow. Now, we know that Florence did change a few things on there, but we don't know what. So really, we don't know what to believe. Basically, he ghost wrote his own life and shaped how posterity would see him, smoothing over estrangement, the neglect, and the silence. And that is if it really happened. Thomas Hardy spent a lifetime asking the universe for a ghost, but the real haunting was always here. A ghost made by memories and guilt. And standing here now, I'm not sure it's gone.
So, is Max Gate haunted? I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. Now, there was a moment in the cemetery, but that could have been a trick of the light. And yet, there were rooms in the house where I didn't feel entirely comfortable, like Thomas's room, Emma's room. Make of that what you will.
Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumb up, and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.